I can't believe my parents support my choice of profession. I told them that I wanted to become a stand-up comedian. They laughed at me. Today I'm going to explain a 2012 action film called Badass. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. Frank Vega is a decorated Vietnam War veteran who had led a difficult life. While he was fighting for his country, his girlfriend married someone else and had 2 daughters. He is unable to get a job anywhere, and ended up making a living selling hot dogs for most of his life until a hot dog van took away his customers. Frank spent much of the rest of his life as a drifter. Until one day, he beats up 2 skinhead thugs for abusive everyone on the bus and try to hit another old man. A guy recorded it and uploaded to YouTube. He becomes famous on the internet and is given the nickname Badass, and is celebrated by everybody around him. People make t-shirts and graffiti with his face on it, police give him ride-alongs and he ends up on talk shows. Shout out to Bob Adamson and Brad Christensen, thank you for your support. 3 months later, Frank's mother, Juanita, passes away, leaving him her house and dog. Frank's best friend and fellow Vietnam vet, Klondike Washington, moves in with Frank and entrusts him with a USB flash drive for his late mother's safe deposit box. Klondike goes out one night for cigarettes and is murdered in a dark alley by 2 thugs, leaving Frank heartbroken. Frank meets a boy named Martin, who lives next door to Frank with his mother, Amber Lamps, and abusive father, Martin Sr. Officer Malark assures Frank that the police department are working on finding the men who killed Klondike, but after watching the news and learning that the police solved a different murder in a faster time span, Frank realizes that the police are doing little to nothing about Klondike's murder. Frank decides to solve the mystery himself, and investigates the alley where Klondike was shot. He finds a spent cartridge casing and a pendant with a woman's picture in it. Frank takes them both to a pawn shop where the shopkeeper tells him it belongs to a man named Terrence, whose wife's picture is in the pendant. After returning the pendant to Terrence's wife, he asks where Terrence is, and she tells him that he isn't home for a week. Her friend told her that she saw Terrence playing basketball with his friends in Steep Park. After Frank beats up some of Terrence's friends, they tell him that a man named Ronaldo might know where Terrence is. Frank goes to Ronaldo's apartment and meets his roommate, who tells Frank that Ronaldo is at a bar across town. After beating up some of the bar patrons who try to throw him out, Frank finds Ronaldo and extracts the information that Terrence is hanging out with his girlfriend. Frank finds her working at a massage parlor, but she is uncooperative, so he follows her after her shift. After breaking into her house, he finds Terrence and tortures him for information about his boss who ordered Klondike's murder by sticking Terrence's hand in the kitchen's garbage disposal. Terrence reveals that Klondike was killed by a drug lord named Panther for the flash drive he had been given earlier, which contains details of a secret project to dig oil wells in the neighborhood on behalf of Mayor Williams. Before confronting Panther, Frank saves Amber and Martin from their abusive husband and ends up becoming their neighborhood friend. Amber invites Frank over for a home-cooked meal, and Frank gets all dressed up for it. At dinner, Frank asks Amber if he can have a matchbook of hers as a memento, and she gives it to him. They are about to kiss when Martin Jr. walks in on them, so they do not. Frank insists that Amber and Martin stay at his place until he can repair her front door. The next day, Frank gives the flash drive to Officer Malark and tracks down Panther at his hideout. But he is knocked unconscious, captured, and then tortured for information about the location of the flash drive by being hooked up to an electrocution device. He is shocked multiple times, like he was in Vietnam, but Frank still refuses to surrender the flash drive. Panther takes Frank's wallet, learns Frank's address and believes Frank is hiding not only the flash drive but a loved one there as well, due to Frank's insistence that there is nothing to find. Panther leaves his men to continue torturing Frank, but Frank breaks free from his restraints and throws a lit matchbook, the one he got from Amber, at some oil drums stored in the room, setting the building on fire and causing explosions. Panther escapes, but Frank gives chase. They both steal buses and duel, damaging many other vehicles during their chase, and ultimately demolish both buses. While chasing Panther again on foot, Frank comes across the 2 skinheads thugs he beat up on the bus earlier. The skinheads thugs try to undo their previous humiliation at Frank's hands by using their cell phone to record themselves beating up Frank, but Frank overpowers them again and resumes his chase. Panther arrives at Frank's house, finds Amber, and threatens to kill her for the flash drive, but Frank arrives in time to intervene. Their fight spills out into the front yard, And just as Panther is about to go after Frank again, Amber jumps on his back and slows him down enough for Frank to get up and beat Panther senseless. Panther is arrested, as is Mayor Williams when his connection to Panther's scandal is revealed on the news. Frank Vega gets an award for bravery from the police. Frank, Amber and Martin all live happily ever after. What do you think about this movie? Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more video like this.